Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and signature online coaching program, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you like the podcast, you're going to love my group coaching program. If you would like to learn more about it, including the investment cost, what's included, see real client testimonials, and to sign up and enroll, please head over to irresistibleicing.com/course. That link is also in the show notes. All right, guys, this is episode 142 of the Irresistible You podcast. And in today's episode, I just want to conversate with you guys. I want to have a conversation, I just kind of debrief of what's been going on for me in October. I just got back from Walt Disney World, which was absolutely amazing and insane all at the same time. And I want to kind of debrief that from, the perspective of weight and all the things we talk about here. And so we're going to talk about, going on vacation, the concept of waiting for the weight, getting on the scale after a vacation, emotions that come up, and all those kinds of things. So let's just dive into it because there's just a lot to talk about. And I just want to have like a friendly conversation about it so that I can mentally kind of unpack some of the things too. So for those of you that don't know, and those of you that know me already, you're like, okay, I already know this, Amy. Great. But October is a crazy month in our family. And I say crazy in the best way possible because it is a month full of celebrations. So my husband's birthday is the 10th. My daughter's birthday is the 21st. My son's birthday is the 26th. Our wedding anniversary is the 30th. And my favorite holiday of the year is Halloween on the 31st. So, that said, Party City takes all my money in October. And it's just crazy. Like October is just, and the cool thing about it too is October is my favorite month of the year. I don't know why I wasn't born in October too. I'm a July baby. I'm a Leo. That's probably why, because I'm totally a Leo. Um, but October is just a big celebration and there's a lot going on. And even though, yeah, we talk about this too, like, even though you have fun things going on or positive things going on, there is still stress that is attached to positive experiences. And I want you guys to acknowledge that as well for yourself. Because I feel like sometimes people lay around in self-judgment about, oh my god, everything's going good for me, I shouldn't be stressed out, what's wrong with me, blah blah blah. And it's like, planning a wedding is a happy moment, right? But it's also a very stressful time. Having a baby is a happy time, it's also a very scary and stressful time. Going on vacation is a happy, grateful, amazing thing to be able to do, but it also comes with some stress. So stress comes in different levels, guys. Stress does not always just mean, I'm doom and gloom, sad and mad and all the things. So October is a very, very busy month over here. And it's wild that basically both of my kids are born in October and they're 5 days apart. So this year we had decided earlier in the year that to celebrate their birthdays and basically our anniversary too, just might as well throw that in there. We were going to go to Disney World. It's something I've wanted to do for a very long time. I've always wanted to take my kids there. I remember when the pandemic first started, would tell my daughter, like, I'm gonna take you there. Like, we would watch Disney movies and the castle would come on and I'm like, one day mommy and daddy are gonna take you there and it's gonna happen. And we did it. And there was a lot of planning that went into that. I can always do a separate episode if anyone is interested in that, because I felt like the trip, my husband and I talked about this trip went so smoothly and organized because there was a lot of work that happened on the back end of it before we left. And we had all the right things in like, it just Disney World is not a vacation that you take to feel rejuvenated. It is not a vacation with kids. It is definitely with kids, not a vacation you take to come back refreshed and bright eyed, because that is not the case. I came back exhausted. I came back missing a toenail. I came back with my feet busted. Like, but it was amazing and it was fun. And there's this weird pull. I'm not one of these like crazy Disney fanatics, because Disney in and of itself is like a cult. Honestly, it's got a cult following. Disney fans, look, Disney fans go hard. I have never seen people go as hard as like these crazy Disney fans. Like, no shade. I think it's, it's fun. Um, but Disney has this weird pull where your feet are hurting, they're on the border of bleeding, you're losing your sanity because the kids are about to drive you crazy. It's hot, there's too many people, and then all of a sudden you can't wait to go back. It's just very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon. But we were there for 7 days and it was everything I wanted it to be. It was amazing. And we had other family that hung out with us there, and it was, the kids had so much fun. And that at the end of the day is what it's all about, because we had a shit-tastic year. Let's just say it, right? um, from my postpartum issues to catching COVID to my daughter coming down with type 1 diabetes. Like, there's just, and there's been other stuff too. Like, it's just been a shit-tastic year. Um, Everybody talks about 2020 in that way. And for me, 2020 was actually pretty awesome. 2021 was my 2020, if you will. And so we really needed this trip. We deserved this trip. We have worked, I just feel like all we ever do sometimes is work, 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 and we haven't as a family had fun like this in a really long time. So it was a long time coming. And it was so fun. And so I want to just say this too, because when I booked the trip, and I think I talked about this in a, I don't even know what podcast number it is. I have no idea, guys. I talked about how we have to have things to look forward to in life. We can't just be on the hamster wheel of work, making dinner, paying bills, taking the dog out, taking the kids to school, doing all the things. Like, we can't just stay on that hamster wheel all the time, because we will burn out. We need things to look forward to. And things to look forward to doesn't mean, a 7 night Walt Disney World vacation. Things to look forward to can be, the Day of the Dead festival coming up, or we're going to spend the weekend at this winery, or we're going to go to this thing over the weekend. Like, it can be small things too. It doesn't have to be the big vacations. But I also think planning things and having these experiences, it's necessary. Like, we need things to look forward to that take us out of the monotony of every single day. And so for me, this was that thing to look forward to. And I hadn't had that in a very long time. A very long time. Like, we've gone on little like road trips here and there for the weekend, but it's been a long time. I would say this is actually the first family vacation we've ever taken with the four of us. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, we've been to Texas and stuff, but no shade to my family there. That's not really a vacation. It's visiting family. I'm sorry, but there's a difference, right? There's a difference between going to a vacation spot and like visiting with family. It's no shade in that. It just, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So this was like the first real family vacation we've ever taken, and it's the first big vacation that Frank and I have done since 2015 when we went to Mexico. So, you know, yes, we've done little things in between, but with 2020 and people not traveling and everything shutting down, it had been a long time since we had even done a weekend thing. Like, so this was just so overdue and so necessary, and it gave me that thing to look forward to. And I wanted to talk about that too, because I think a lot of times we bring it back to weight, right? We tell ourselves, like we in our mind, like, yeah, I want to go to Disney World, I want to go to Mexico, I want to go to Jamaica, I want to go to, Vegas, whatever. But I don't want to even book that until I lose the weight. And you find yourself continuously stuck on the yo yo diet, body hate shame cycle. That weight doesn't come off, or it doesn't come off the way you want it to, or fast enough, or whatever. And you just keep finding yourself putting on hold, putting on hold, putting on hold. And essentially, it's like you're putting your whole life on hold for this magic moment when you think you're going to lose the weight. And it's not about that, it's about the fact that you think that when you lose that amount of weight, everything's going to fall in place. It's like, oh, well, if I lose the weight, there won't be any stress involved in this trip. Like, I'm not going to want to, like, hide in the closet after this trip. Like, I'm going to just, everything's just going to be so good, and all the clothes are going to fit me, and I'm going to love all the pictures. And we build this fantasy bullshit story in our head, and we waste time on that versus let me figure out how to make this happen. And if I lose weight in the process, cool. If I don't, cool, but I'm going to live my damn life now. I'm not going to sit around and wait for the weight. And I think that's the moral of the story here, is like you cannot continue to wait for the weight, because that is literally wasting your life. And when I booked this trip, I want to say it was sometime like April, maybe early May, I don't even know, sometime around there. And when I booked it, of course, you have that mentality of like, okay, I'm going to lose the weight. I have 6 months. I got to make this happen. And I remember kind of my brain going there. And even when you've done all this work on yourself and your thought processes and all the things, it's like, it's sometimes hard to break that cycle. And, I have the postpartum weight, which, oh my God, has been a year. Like, girl, you can't be saying this at graduation, okay? Javi can't graduate high school or even kindergarten, and you're talking about the baby weight. Like, okay. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna like finish the postpartum weight before Disney. It'll like motivate me more, blah, blah, blah. And this was around early May, and then June came in like a wrecking ball and just knocked us over. I mean, you guys know that's when Catalina got diagnosed with type 1. And my world was flipped upside down. And I know I've shared bits and pieces of that in different episodes. You can go back and look at those. But, um, you know, I haven't gained, I have not gained back any weight. Like, hallelujah, praise the Lord, I have not gained weight. I have also not lost the amount that I thought I would before this trip. And so I was literally this year, especially over the summer, early fall, I was in survival mode, and actual literal survival mode. Like, we use that word, but I mean, my daughter's life depends upon me to be her pancreas. And it was a huge learning curve. It still is, not nearly as big. It's a 24/7 job. Diabetes doesn't go away. It doesn't level out. It doesn't get better. It just is. You get better at managing it. You get better at handling things. And so this year was just a shit show. Like, it was a complete and utter shit show. But here we are. We're doing much better. I would even almost say we're thriving at times. At times. And my weight loss took a stall because for me, I was in survival mode and it just wasn't the priority. Did I want it to be a priority? Absolutely. I wanted to want it so bad, but there was a disconnect for me. And I think the old version of me getting up into, the moments, the weeks before, days before we're getting ready to leave, the old version of me would have been upset, mad, sad, crying because I didn't lose the weight that I envisioned. I didn't get down to the size I thought I would. And I didn't do that. Like, it just, I'm not going to allow some extra pounds, some extra rolls. I'm not going to let some extra rolls and pounds take away this amazing experience that we have worked so hard to create. right? Like you guys know that have booked vacations, not only just from a financial standpoint, but the energy and the time and the planning and all the things that it takes. I am not sitting here allowing some pounds to diminish that experience because I've done that before and it's a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. And then it's like you go on the vacation in that mindset and you completely don't have a good time. You don't take any pictures. You hide. You don't take up space. Like it's just, it's not a good time. And so, what I want to say to you guys about that is like, you got to stop waiting for the wait and setting yourself up with these expectations. And then if you don't meet those expectations, going on a trip or a party or a wedding or whatever that thing is and completely zoning out in the process because you're so obsessed and pissed off and worried about what everybody else is thinking about you when quite honestly they don't give a shit. The only person who's like noticing the extra rolls or the thicker rolls or whatever you want to say, the cellulite or this and that, the only person who really cares and is that obsessed with themselves is you. I mean, sorry, newsflash, it's you. It's not them. And so we allow ourselves to miss out on an experience because we're so worried about the weight, the weight, the weight, the weight. And so it's time to stop doing that. And was I, the weight I wanted to be for this trip? No. Was I in the size I wanted to be for this trip? No. Was I, my body fit the way I wanted it to be fit on this trip? No. Hell no. Um, but I had an amazing time. And I also recognize and completely know that weight, you guys, is a temporary thing, right? You're born with your eye color. You're born with the height that you have. Your weight is temporary. You can change it if you really wanted to. So, this is just a blip in my story. I'll get to where I want to be. I'm working towards that, and it's okay. And I'm not going to let that take away from my kids' experiences. Because what kind of example would that be? And if you're articulating that frustration or you're looking at yourself a certain way or you're making comments about the clothes you have to buy because they're not the ones you really want to be wearing, your kids hear that. They hear it, they see it, they absorb it, and this is not a good look. So that was one of the big things here is like you just gotta be in the moment of where you are. And when we talk about be in the moment, it's actually one of the guiding principles within my framework in the program. And when we talk about be in the moment, what it is about is acknowledging and meeting yourself where you are right now. And because here's the thing. You are where you are, and in your head you have a place that you want to be. So that place of where you are and where you want to be will constantly feel like a fight if you don't allow yourself to be in the moment. It will always feel like a push and pull fight because you're here, you're now, you're present. But if you're so obsessed about where you think you should be, or I should have lost 50 pounds by now, or I should have been able to wear a size M, that is going to take away from where you are right now. Because in this moment, when I get on the airplane and I roll myself to Disney, I can't change my size overnight. I can't lose 40 pounds in 2 days. So what good is it going to do me to sit there and beat myself up for not achieving a goal when life literally just knocked me down the last couple months, right? I am where I am. I don't have to stay here. I'm not staying here. But this is where I'm at right now. So being in the moment is about meeting yourself where you are. It doesn't mean accepting it. I don't like to use that word. I specifically choose the word acknowledge, and it's built into the program as well. To acknowledge where you are right now. To acknowledge that this is where I'm at. Because we don't have to accept it. We just have to acknowledge it and then move forward. And when you change your mindset to that, you're going to take away so much stress, so much pressure, so much judgment, so that you can just enjoy yourself. And, you know, my kids, there was this one, so we had some really good pictures, guys. Like, I love that at Disney they have like photographers in certain areas, and you pay for this pass and you get all the pictures. It's like, it's just so cool. Remember the old days? You would go to a theme park and it's like, okay, at 5 o'clock, come by here with your ticket and pick up your photos, and it's like $25 for some piece of shit 5x7 and this crappy paper frame. Nah. Um, Nobody wants to do that. So it's just so cool nowadays, where you're able to just do that. And so we had a lot of really good pictures, and there was this one, um, and I thought I was doing I thought I had the right angle. I thought I was like doing the right angle on this particular one, and like, sucking in the right spot. And when I got the picture, I was like, ugh. It was like a knee jerk reaction. I was like, ugh, my stomach, ew. Um, But let me tell you, the smile on my face, my daughter's face, everybody, Javi don't smile. You guys watch my stories. I promise you, he laughs, he giggles, he's like goofy. But I put the camera in his face, I'm like, what is going on? Like him and my husband have like that serious face, but they're like, my husband's the type of person, he's always cracking jokes. Like it's so funny. Um, anyway, I saw the picture and I was like, ugh, but when I look at the whole picture, my daughter is not going to sit there and be like, "Ew, like I can see your big stomach." Like she doesn't care, right? It doesn't matter. But that's what we do is we get so caught up in our own shit that we just hone in on, "Oh my God, look at that." And then I can remember times where if I would have seen that, it would have set me off the rest of the trip where I was just angry, not enjoying, and I had myself a good time. We rode all the rides, we ate all the food, we walked an average of 8 miles a day. Like, girl, I cannot, I cannot. Um, so it was just fun, and so even if you're not where you want to be physically, don't allow that to take away an experience that you're having because you don't get the time back. How much time have you actually wasted being so inside your head that you're not able to be present with everyone else? You know what I mean? So yeah, and there was a lot of walking, a lot of walking. My Fitbit told me that I was averaging we were averaging about 8 miles a day. And I know for a fact that not all my steps were picked up because when you're pushing the stroller, it doesn't read your Fitbit. And I wasn't like, usually I'll wrap my Fitbit around my bra strap when I have the stroller or a shopping cart, or I'll put it like I take it off the straps and like put it in my pocket. And I didn't do that. Nobody's got time for that at Disney. There's enough going on. So I know I had more steps than what I even had. Let me tell you how bad it was. Okay. Let me tell you. So I do not like wearing tennis shoes. I don't like running shoes. I don't like I My feet get numb. I don't like laces. I feel like my feet are like suffocating when I'm in those kind of shoes. It's so strange. I know it's one of my quirks. Um but and I thought about it because I've always been this way because I guess I'm always either in sandals because Virginia Beach, it's usually warm most of the year, not all the year. But for the most part, this is like a flip flop sandals type of place. And if I'm not wearing that, I'm in high heels without socks. I hate wearing socks and I hate wearing shoes that like feel like they're like gripping my feet. So, obviously I have walking shoes, duh. But I needed to get a new pair for this trip. And so I know we went shopping for shoes, and I had found these really cute pair of Adidas, and they were black with the Adidas stripes were leopard. And I was like, these are so cute. And I was like, and these are going to look so cute in Animal Kingdom. Oh my gosh. So I got them, and my feet, they felt okay, but my feet felt like they were just suffocating. And then we had gone to the store another day so Frank could find some different shoes. And they had almost it was the same style. They were black and they had like a crisscross on the top with leopard. They were Adidas, but they had no laces. And I'm like, yes. So I tried them on. They're like the slip on running shoes. And I tried them on and I was like, this feels so good and so much better. So I have discovered I hate laces. That's the problem. It's the laces that I can't stand. And any of the running shoes that have like the big thick soles that are supposed to be for like shock absorption, I can't wear those. My feet go numb. So I am very particular about shoes. And I know I can't go to Disney World in some flip flops and walk around. Like it's just not going to happen. Um, does not tell me why I saw someone in high heels. I'm like, what girl? So I wore these shoes. They felt really comfortable. I was like, yes, I can get down with this. It's cool. Day three was Epcot. And I mean, we were there basically 10 to 10. And I mean, it was, there's a lot of walking involved. By the end of the night, um, by the end of the night, I tapped out because I would put flip flops like in the back of the stroller just in case I needed to change my shoes by the end of the night. And I tapped out. I did. I tapped out. I put the flip flops on because we were getting ready to leave. We were just walking basically to the front anyway. And I mean, my entire pinky nails were blistered. Like they were so big and swollen and blistered. And I mean, it was awful. So when we got on the bus to go back to the resort, I don't know what happened. Someone either stepped on my toe, which is what I get for putting the flip flops on, or I hit my toe against somebody's bag. I don't know what happened. My toe got busted open from the blister. I don't want to get too graphic because it was absolutely disgusting. I actually thought I was going to go to the urgent care that night because my entire top of my nail, like the entire nail, the entire top of my toe came off eventually. And the next day was Kat's birthday, and I'm like, I have to be able to walk around this park. Like, what am I gonna do? And I can't walk around in flip flops all day. So, and I shoved them feet and them shoes the next morning, and I don't know how I did it. And I continued to do that for the next 3 days. And it was, there was one point, I mean, I was like limping. People in wheelchairs and the hover rounds, girl, they were like passing me. It was that bad. But I did it. And so it's just so much walking. I don't even know why I'm sharing that story. I don't know. We're just talking, right? So I just had to share that story. So it was just crazy. So my feet are in recovery. My poor toenail, I don't know when it's going to grow back. Um, my feet are busted. They are busted. And I can't even go get a pedicure because I'm like, there's still like blisters that are recovering and I've got toenails that are missing. So, Lord, I'm glad it's getting cold so nobody has to look at my feet. Anyway, that is the allure of Disney. And I was telling my husband, it was so funny, right? Before we were like leaving, like the weeks leading up to it, and I had been ordering all the stuff on Amazon for a while because I watched all the videos, like the must haves, like these are the things you need to pack, because I've never been to Disney with kids. I've been several times in the past when I worked in the travel industry, but it was always for work. It was never for like, you know, with family. Frank and I have never been together either. And so I was watching these videos, and here we are packing blister kits, which now I know I needed like way more blister kits. Um, chafing sticks, rain ponchos. What else? I'm like, am I going on vacation or am I training for a marathon? And it's a little bit of A, it's a little bit of B. And that's just the weirdness of Disney. It's this very strange phenomenon. Anyway, um, last week was our first full week home, and don't, I did not feel like I had recuperated at all. Like it took a long time. And last week, and I don't know if this happens for you guys too, if you go on a trip, I was finding myself in this like low, um, kind of like post vacation depression where it's like, now what? Right? And it goes back to what I said earlier about having things to look forward to because it was such a high, and coming home was like, oh man, like now what? It's like back to reality, but coming off such a high, you just crash hard. You crash really, really hard. And I know that about myself. I know that anytime I'm out of town, even if it's like a business trip, I need a day or two to like just introvert and like be to myself and like unpack and unwind and, just mentally prepare. And all last week, I was just kind of like in a low place where I didn't even want to look at the Disney pictures. I didn't want to look at the pictures. I posted all kinds of stuff on Instagram stories. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw that. I haven't posted anything even to my Instagram feed. Even since the summer, I haven't posted on my feed. I just haven't had it in me to do it. I don't even know why. I didn't want to look at the pictures. I didn't want to look or hear anything Disney, which because of all the planning, my algorithm is completely Disney now on all my Instagrams and Facebook and YouTube and all of that. So anyway, um, be aware of that. Whether it's a vacation, whether it is a business trip, whether it is a wedding, whether it is because the same thing happened to me with my wedding. And I noticed it this last week. I was like, okay, there's a trend here, there's a pattern here. And becoming self aware, you guys, is about finding the trends and the patterns and the triggers in your life so that you can do something about it. And I noticed, I was like, wait a second. I get like this after every big, big, big thing. After my kids were born, after my wedding, after the big vacations. And I get that way with other things, but in a smaller, like it matches the level of the event, right? So even after, going to a party or something, I kind of crash hard. And that's okay. You just need to be self aware that you do these things because what can happen is you can then find yourself in a vicious spiral of diving into the binge eating and the food. And I just wanted to eat. I just wanted to like snack. I don't know what was going on last week. And I finally was like, I don't feel good. This is gross. I'm eating more this week than I did in Disney World. That's a problem. And Amy, get your shit together. Like, get up off this pity party and let's get it together. And I did. So, notice your behaviors, notice your patterns, notice your triggers for like, when you do certain things, and then build that into your life. Don't judge yourself for it. And that's what I did. Like, I gave myself the grace to say, you know what, this week, I had full intentions of doing a podcast last week, and I'm sorry that I did not do that. My self care came first. I did not dive face first into a bunch of projects last week. I allowed myself to feel the sad. It's so stupid to say it. Oh my God, Amy, you're judging yourself. You're judging yourself. I allowed myself to feel the sadness that vacation was over. Yes, you can feel sad that it's over. That's not stupid. I allowed myself to feel sad that this big thing that we were planning and looking forward to happened and it's over and now it's back to reality. There's a sadness attached to that. And you have to recognize and build it into your schedule, right? When I was still working for a corporation, we used to host a social media conference every year, and it's intense and it's people-y and it's very extroverted. And by the time I would get home, I was spent. It was emotionally draining because it's just you're on for so many days, right? So I would build that in my schedule that for the next 2 to 3 days that I'm home, I'm not to be bothered. Don't tell my kids that because that's not going to happen. But I am not having meetings. I'm not going deep diving in some projects. I'm just going to like come back to life, right? So it doesn't, again, guys, circumstances stay the same, but the way that you look at things, the way that you judge or stop judging yourself, it changes the game. And say, you know what? I do get sad after vacations. But I don't have to allow that to happen for the next month because past versions of me would not even know this was happening because I was completely unself-aware, not self-aware. And so this pattern of overeating, binging, not feeling myself, not pulling myself together would have gone on for months. And then it's that magic moment where you wake up and go, oh my God, I can't believe my jeans don't fit. How did this happen? And the whole cycle just repeats itself. So when you're self aware, it changes the game. And I wanted to also talk about that because, getting back on track after a vacation, and let's talk about it as it relates to weight, obviously. A lot of people will avoid the scale. I used to be one of those people. And here's what happens. You guys know me that I am a firm believer that you need to weigh yourself once a week. If you're, when, oh my God, I can't even talk. I'm like stumbling over my words. Okay. So I had heard someone this week talking about how the scale was a trigger for them. If they get on the scale, it makes them feel bad about themselves, even if they know they gained weight from sodium or, extra water or whatever, and it just ruins their whole day. They're going to start talking bad to themselves and the whole cycle, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, girl, the scale is not the trigger. The trigger is you and how you think about yourself. The scale is literally telling you a fact. Like, this is the number, this is what it is. It may not be representing what you think it should be, but as of today, this is what it's telling you. Whether it's water weight or not, it's kind of irrelevant. And she's like, so I'm just going to avoid the scale. I'm going to pack it away. I'm not going to use it. And the thing is about that, when you ignore the scale, and you don't get on there, the scale is not the trigger. The trigger that you need to work on is your conversation with yourself about the scale and the weight. It is not the scale. So take some accountability, take some responsibility that the problem is actually you and how you talk to yourself. So taking that away does not give you the opportunity to have this different conversation with yourself. Every time you get on the scale should be a new opportunity to change the conversation about what it means. Whether it's a gain or a loss, because you cannot just love the scale when you lose. You cannot just love the scale because you're down a couple pounds. You have to also learn how to speak to yourself when it's up, when it's the same. Because when it's up, it might just be from bloat. It might just be from extra water or extra sodium. But if you don't give yourself the opportunity to look at that and change the way you speak to yourself, getting rid of the scale is the same thing as eating food to push down your emotions. Because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to take responsibility. You don't want to be accountable. And you don't want to hear the judgment that comes up from yourself. It's the same thing. You don't need to be obsessed about getting on the scale every single day. But there's nothing wrong with jumping on the scale once a week because for me, it keeps me accountable as hell. It really does. And I used to be the person who I went on vacation. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not getting on the scale. I had the super chocolate Mickey Mouse heads and all this, and we had this food and that food, and girl, I'm not getting on the scale. Then what happens? You know what happens? That's the first week back from vacation. So then you spend the next week in your post-vacation depression, eating all the shit that you can, telling yourself, well, I'm so sad, it's over, I'll just start back on Monday. So in the meantime, I'm going to eat everything now because I probably already gained weight anyways. Because you create a story that you gained weight when you don't know if that's true or not. You have no idea if that's true. But you have convinced yourself that, well, I must have gained weight because, I had the super triple deluxe chocolate this and that on vacation and I had all those margaritas. So, definitely gained weight. But you also don't think about, well, I also was walking 5 to 8 miles a day. Okay. So you've told yourself that. So then you have your post-vacation sadness week and you're eating and binging. And now you're like, oh shit, I cannot get on the scale Monday because I am so bloated from all this binge eating. And you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing that weigh in next week because you have nothing to hold you accountable. because you have given yourself permission that, well, the scale is just a trigger for me and the scale is going to make me feel like shit. No, you make yourself feel like shit by binge eating. You make yourself feel like shit by telling yourself you're a piece of shit. You're the one that creates that story, not the scale. It's the thoughts and the beliefs and the feelings that you have about what the weight means. Oh my God, it's up 2.6. I am the biggest loser in the world. Right? And so you just keep avoiding. You cannot avoid all of your triggers. If you continue to avoid the things that you think trigger you, you will not overcome those triggers. You will just find other ways to push it down, whether it's not weighing in and being accountable, whether it's with food or whatever. So my recommendation after every single vacation is you get your ass on the scale and you just see what it's at. And let me tell you this too. The more you get comfortable getting on the scale, you can see certain numbers and be like, okay, yeah, I had Chinese food last night. Big deal. It's going to be up because there's a lot of sodium retention. Or you know what? I was working out in the heat. The body expands. There's a lot of water retention. Of course, the scale is up. So let me tell you something. And you can get on there and stop beating yourself up. Stop having the inner fat bitch tell you what a loser piece of shit you are, because you get comfortable with just getting on the scale and knowing nothing changes who I am by seeing this number. This is just a statistic. This is just a machine. That's all it is. It's just data. What you do with that data, that's on you. That is completely on you. It is not the scale's fault. So I get so sick of people talking about, oh, the scale did this. The scale didn't do anything. The scale did nothing to you. So I always recommend after a vacation, get your ass on the scale. Because if you don't get on the scale, you don't know what to do. Because I guarantee you, if you got on the scale and you see it's up 5 pounds, are you going to sit around and sulk for the next 5 days and eat everything in sight? Probably not. And let me just tell you this, guys. So right before our vacation, I had weighed in and I was on my period. It was up 5. So from Friday to Monday, or Friday to Tuesday, something like that, it was up 5 pounds. I did not eat enough food over the weekend to gain 5 pounds. I also did not sit there and stress about it. I did not sit there and, beat myself up about it. I knew you're on your period, you're bloated. That's what it is. And guess what? Like the next day or something like that, the weight was gone. That 5 pounds I'm talking about was gone. So when we got back from our trip, I got on the scale and I was exactly the same as when I left. Exactly the same. Like, do you know how much of a win that is when you have always struggled with weight? I did not go on this trip with, and that's the thing, when you go on a trip or you go into the holiday season, we'll start talking about that soon too, you have to go in with an intention. I'm either going to go on this trip and I'm going to stay the same. I'm going to go on this trip and I'm going to be okay if I gain some weight. Or I'm going to go on this trip to continue to lose the weight. What happens is you don't set an intention. You just expect, well, I should just still continue to lose weight. But then your actions are like, not reflecting someone that wants to lose weight, like, 3 margaritas a day by the pool and triple dipper chocolate cake and all this other stuff. That is not in line with, I want to lose weight on vacation. But then you act like the vacation was the reason why you gained the weight. No, your actions are the reason. Like, I can't. So I stayed the same. For me, that's a win. I did not go on this vacation wanting to gain weight. I did not go on this vacation with an intention to lose weight. I went on this vacation to have fun. I went on this vacation to eat whatever I wanted to eat. And quite frankly, when you're out in the heat and you're walking and you're running around with kids, I didn't want certain things. Like there was all these different snacks and things I had seen online and on the videos that I wanted to try, and I didn't get the opportunity because I didn't even want to eat when it was that hot, right? So and when I came back home, my feet were swollen, my hands were swollen. I mean, my arms were so swollen that I like my carpal tunnel, I couldn't even use the computer last week for a couple days. I'm serious. I could have easily told myself, "Oh, you fat ass, you're so swollen. You know you gained weight. You've never go on vacation and lose or stay the same. You just don't get on that scale. You cannot get on that scale this week because you're going to be so disappointed." And then that keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, like what I just talked about before. And so it's like, no, get your ass on the scale. Do it. Face the music. And if it's up, who cares? You know why? You know what to do to reverse that. Okay? It's not that big of a deal. And I truly believe if you go into things setting that intention, you don't set yourself up for disappointment later. It's just like the holidays, and we're going to do another episode around that because I have other ones you can go back and find them. But it's like you go into the holiday season like, oh my God, I know I'm going to gain weight. It's like, well, yeah, if you let yourself gain weight, you act like you get hypnotized by, fruitcake and pumpkin pie. Like, seriously, guys, like, come on. We have to start being accountable and responsible because we're grown ass adults. You are not a victim. You are not being held down and force fed Reese's peanut butter cups in the shape of Christmas trees. You did that. Okay? Your emotions did not do that. You did that. And when you start getting honest with yourself and you stop bullshitting yourself and living in denial and like facing the music, things will start to change. Things will start to change. You are not a victim. This is not a pity party that we need to have. So anytime you get back on from vacation or a party or a wedding weekend or a reunion weekend or a holiday weekend, just get on the scale. And I want and there's a few episodes around that and like how to do that too, because getting on the scale again, every single time you do it is an opportunity to learn and change the conversation. Because you are not going to be down every single week. That is not how the human body works, especially when you're a woman. It is just not how this works. So anyway, I thought I would share all of that, some of my vacation information, some tips and such around those different topics. I hope that's helpful. It's a little bit different, I think, from some of my other episodes, but hopefully you guys like that. Let me know. The best way to let me know is you can leave a rating and review over on iTunes, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I am at Irresistible Icing. We are going to have some holiday content coming up because good Lord, you guys, it's November. I don't even understand it. I don't know how we're here. But here we are. It's November 2021. I am still back in 2019 if I'm being honest. So, we're going to start rolling out with some new holiday content. If you want to join my program, work with me, you can do that over on irresistibleicing.com/course. You can also jump into the free Facebook group where we discuss the podcast episodes and all the other things around emotional weight, confidence, and body image. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Until the next one, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.